everybody. Welcome to Monsters Lounge. It is a very special episode today because it's just me and Tressa talking, and we haven't seen each other in a little bit. Hi,
Yeah,
Tressa.
it's crazy. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really well.
Doing nothing in particular? Pretty
Mm-mm.
bored right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty bored. It's so cold outside here in the suburbs of Chicago. I'm kidding. I'm on
Oh,
vacation. I'm in Belize,
what?
and I
This
know I'm
is the
doing all
first
kinds of
time I've
stuff.
heard this.
I know you thought I just disappeared, but it
hmm
really, in actuality,
hmm
I am in a different country.
Oh, is
Yep.
that where that is?
That is where that is. It is a different country. It is part of Central America.
Oh, that's not where I am.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not. So it's very nice here, and I've been doing a lot of diving and visited some Mayan ruins and saw
Oh,
some monkeys and
what?
it's I know. I
That sounds
know.
all fake. That sounds like you're lying.
I mean, it's not fake at all. I I took photos
Uh-huh.
and videos so I can
Oh,
prove it.
are you
And then
in
I
any
went
of
to the
those?
tanning. I mean, I was
I'm sorry?
no, no, I wasn't, and I took them. That's why I'm not
Oh,
in them.
oh,
Mhm.
that's not suspicious.
Mm-mm.
Are you stealing
No.
anything while you're there?
Everything. Like I got a monkey I'm gonna bring home, and he can ride my dog.
Oh,
I gotta get a little
okay.
settle for him, but outside of
That,
that, I think he's gonna make a good addition to the house.
that should be an easy find, that
Mhm.
saddle.
Yeah,
Petco
not a
or
problem. Yeah, I think
Chewy.
so. Amazon has everything.
Oh, they do.
They do. They really do.
Bless our overlords. Hey, Jenny, what are we talking about today?
You know, Tressa, because I am swimming in the ocean a lot
Mm-hmm.
these
Mm-hmm.
days and seeing some pretty cool stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that we could maybe talk a little bit about some of the paranormal aspects of the ocean, namely
Yeah.
some sea monsters.
Oh, yeah. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah, and then you know what starts off as sea monsters? Are lake monsters
S.
as well. So I
Oh,
think we're gonna we're gonna cover those. Well, a few of them at any rate.
yeah.
So
No, there's so many. Jenny, there's
mhm,
so many.
there are a lot.
There's a lot of
Now,
logs. Hmm?
I, there's a lot of very amorphous sort of logs floating around,
Mm-hmm.
moving of their own volition, but they've got to be logs, right?
Yep.
Those sentient logs
That dive. Mm-hmm.
all over, and sometimes pop up a little bit more than others. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what logs do, right? I'm not
Absolutely.
familiar with wood.
I've never seen wood before.
Mm-mm.
I'm not a logger. I'm a lumberjack. I'm a
Is that true?
axe man.
I,
I
is that
think
what
that's
they're
what they're
called?
called. I'm pretty sure. Man of the wood.
You're thinking of something else.
I
Pretty
really
sure.
am. Yeah. But anyway, the oceans. Belize is right next to the largest still living reef. The largest reef, of course, is outside of Australia,
hmm
but because of various things, it's lost its title as the largest living reef. So now it runs up across right next to Belize. Anyway, part
Yeah.
of that reef is something called the blue hole. Now, the blue hole
Mm.
it's quite literally a round space in the reef. It's surrounded by coral and it drops. And it drops to significant depth, way further than we could go down.
Would you say these waters are blue?
These waters are blue.
So you might say it's a blue hole.
I believe that's what I heard it called once.
Okay.
It's a blue hole.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't think that one landed quite as well. So, one of the stories that I could dig up around here, because of course, whenever I go any place, I have to talk about cryptids or the paranormal in some
Of
way, shape,
course.
or form. And one of the gentlemen who was diving with us, I asked, and he had a very good laugh at me. But it was mentioned in the San Pedro Sun a few years back in the 70s. There was a guy named Captain Ron. Now, his
What? No, stop it.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it was no. His name was not Captain Ron.
totally
Did
was.
he look like Kurt Russell?
I don't have a picture. I
Okay.
don't have a picture. Anyway, this guy claims to have seen this large eel shaped creature come up out of the blue hole and had accounts from a couple of divers who also witnessed the same thing. Very long, they said 15 to 17 feet at length. Definitely more eel shaped than anything else.
Yeah.
But I do want to preface this that he was not referred to as an actual captain, but rather the CAPN.
Cap'n.
Yes, captain.
Apostrophe N. Yeah.
Yeah, and that there weren't that many other reports to be found.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So I do want to mention that at the get go because that might take away from his credibility just a tiny bit.
I don't know how.
Oh, yeah. Also, the guide's laughing at me, also. So I then looked into it a little bit more. Now,
Uh-huh.
in the Bahamas, they have the same sort of coral formations,
Mm-hmm.
and they do have these blue holes that sort of recede into the depths of the ocean. And there is a myth that has been talked about, handed down from the indigenous peoples, of something called the Luska. Now, it's called the Luska
Yeah.
because it is shortened from mollusk.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I
Yeah.
don't like where this is going. Keep
Oh,
going
well,
though.
it's pretty great because this
Okay.
thing is mostly described as half shark, half
What?
octopus.
That went a
Mhm.
different direction than I was expecting.
I know.
Which half
It
is which?
that now I did look this up too.
Oh.
It looks like the front half is the shark and the lower half is the
Okay.
octopus, is the tentacles.
Oh. Okay, so we
Mhm.
got the sexy part up top and the sexy part on the bottom.
Exactly. You
Perfect.
took the sexiest parts of both animals and put them together, and this is what was found. It's also said to resemble a cuttlefish, which
Mm,
are mind blowing anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced that octopi and cuttlefish are some sort of alien, and maybe our overlords at some point in time, or not. I don't know.
Amazon?
But they're pretty really cool. Pretty really cool.
Yeah,
You
well
heard it
said.
here. Yeah, that was not well said. That was
I
terribly
know.
said.
I was
This,
trying to help you out.
I know you really did. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. But yes, cephalopods, is that both octopi and squid and whatever?
Yeah.
What is a
Mm-hmm.
cephalopod? Okay.
A cephalopod, yeah, I think that's all that it is, and I think that what it means is that they only have like one actual bone part in them, and that's the beak, and then everything else is sort of this amorphous
Magic?
mass. Pretty much, yeah. It's
Yeah.
insane what they can do. The mimics and they can mimic other fish. They can mimic other
Right.
colors. They can
Environments?
flash. It's insane.
Camouflage is unreal. Like
The camouflage
literally
is out of hand.
unreal.
Yeah,
Yeah, they gotta be aliens, right? Like there's no
that's
way
what
they
I'm
came from this
thinking.
planet. And if
Yeah.
they did, engineered by somebody, something.
That's what I'm saying. Pretty sure
There's
that
no
they're
way.
alien. Just saying. The thing can grow over to 75 feet long, is the reports, but oftentimes not that long, about 25 feet. But there were so many reports, and this is such a legend, that the TV show River Monsters,
Uh-huh.
that guy Jeremy Wade, he went down and investigated to see if he could catch it, and of course did not find anything, and
Oh.
concluded that it was some sort of large octopus. But the biggest octopus that we really know of is the
Mm-hmm.
Pacific octopus, which is clearly not in the Bahamas.
That would be quite. I have no idea how that goes. Could it go through the Panama Canal? I don't know. Otherwise, you're going all the way down to Antarctica to get back up there?
Yeah, I think so. Going around that little cape.
Man, grade school geography, really? Thank you.
Really killing it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good at stuff.
I like the idea of like the large sort of kraken sea monsters and the tentacled things, because then you get all of those images in your head about like the giant ships being pulled down, and
Yeah.
the idea of a kraken is just so cool because we don't know what's going on down there in the ocean, and like a leviathan sort of thing in my brain is fighting megalodon, but who knows, maybe that's happening, maybe it's not. I don't
It's
know.
happening. Come on.
I haven't seen it.
It's probably happening every day, every hour on the hour, and we would have no idea. How would
Mm-hmm.
we? Listen, we don't know what's down there. Anyone
We
who
don't.
says that nope, you're wrong. We don't
Yeah.
know what's down there.
Nobody knows what's down there.
It's all aliens and giant octopi and giant megalodons and giant, I don't know, barracuda.
Yeah, a huge barracuda.
They're gigantic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, take a look at the anglerfish, and if you don't know what that is, I highly suggest that everybody look that up because that thing is just gnarly.
It
It's
is
like a
gross.
yeah, it's like a animation from the worst horror movie ever.
Hmm.
Lures its prey in with the bioluminescence little lure that it has in front of its face, and the thing's like 7 feet tall.
What?
Yeah,
Wait,
they're
what?
huge. They can get huge. They are massive.
I know exactly what they look like. I
Uh
had
huh.
no idea. I was
They
like
can
thinking
reach. Yeah.
half a foot big. Like
No.
what? Seven
No.
feet?
Yes. They can reach massive. I don't know if it's exactly 7 feet, but it's around 6 or something. It's huge. Yeah, these things can get really, really big, which terrifying.
Deep
The
sea.
small ones are terrifying.
I,
I know.
I don't know how to process this new information about things that I know exist.
I know. I know.
God.
Yeah. With all of the great expanse of the ocean and the things that we don't know about, it's not such a crazy thought to think that things survived or adapted from, I don't know, prehistoric times, maybe?
I mean, let's think about this. What wiped out the dinosaurs? Let's say it was the asteroid. There wasn't any kind of security underneath the deep sea waters for prehistoric fish and mammals way deep in the ocean. Like, I can't see that not being the case. It seems like the easiest outcome there. Like, of course, it makes full sense.
It
Sharks are
absolutely
prehistoric,
does.
right? Like,
Yep.
you guys. You're not right about everything. I am, but you're not.
So I think what we're leading into is pretty obvious at this point, and that's the plesiosaur and that
Yeah.
family
Toy.
of dinosaurs, right? That
Mm-hmm.
started off as sea creatures. Well, they started off as reptiles that went back into the ocean.
Smart.
They were like, I don't know about this land thing.
Kind of sucks here.
I don't know what's going on over here. We're gonna go
Mhm.
back in. And they obviously evolved into predators that had very flat paddle fins,
Mhm.
both in the front and the back, a little bit longer of a tail, and a varying lengths of neck and smaller heads. And they became quite prolific in catching things and eating them. So they were hunters. Now, here's some cool information that kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Cool. Lay it on me.
They reigned from like 203 million years ago to about 66 million years ago, which is a very large expanse of time. They evolved into like 700 different species.
I was gonna ask that because reading about different the Bessie, the Messy, the Chessie, the Pressy, the Messy, I already probably said that. There's so many different kinds that sound like they are plesiosaur but are slightly different. Like
Mm-hmm.
slightly different descriptions. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, they don't have to all look identical. People don't all look identical. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens with people, especially if they're spread out.
Well, listen, they even tried to divide them up into like two subcategories, and that would be like the long necks and like the shorter necks.
Oh, that's
Um,
rude.
Yeah, I know. It was plesiosaur morph and another one that I cannot pronounce, also starting with a P. The plesiosaurs had the longer necks and the other one had the shorter necks. And then they discovered that even within those subgroups, there were some that just had longer or shorter necks. So it
Yeah.
didn't really, the need to separate them wasn't really there. And then, not only that, but then they do have evidence that some of them evolved into warm blooded
What?
animals, yeah, that gave birth live, which is obviously indication of a mammal. Yeah, live
Okay.
birth, warm blooded, which
Hmm.
everybody that they know of that really survived the asteroid was a small mammal. It's the
Oh.
primary foundation is that the smaller creatures were able to survive.
Okay. I didn't know a lot of this stuff you're telling me.
Would it help to know that I'm just making it all up
It
right
would. Thank
now?
you. Thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
does make me feel
It's
better.
all, yep. No, I made it up.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
See you
No, I
next
didn't.
time.
Yeah, bye bye. That was the mystery. I'm behind all of the sea monster sightings. That's it.
Wait. So how does that apply to fresh water and salt water? Does it apply at all?
It does, because not only did
Oh,
they evolve into so many different species, but some of those species also were able to adapt to freshwater. And they do have some evidence of that based on plant life that they consumed. I don't know exactly how you get all of that detail, but I believe it's from teeth and bone, but I don't know.
what else would they have?
I'm no dinosaur doctor. Yeah.
What? That's not what your business card
I
says.
know. It's a surprise. My business card says a lot of things, and it depends on which
It
business card I
does.
give you.
It's very
It
long.
really does.
It's hard to read.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and very heavy. I have them carved in stone.
It's bulky. It's really not worth it. You need to get
No,
new
it's
ones.
not. I don't know.
Are there other, aside from that crazy guy with a half alligator, I mean, shark, half octopus? Are there any
There might be
others down
some.
by your way
There
where you
are.
are?
More specifically is the Argentina Messi, which is the Nahuelito. It's a lake monster, and it's in a lake in Patagonia, Argentina. Apparently, when the European explorers came down, Patagonia was kind of a mystery to them. There was a lot of reports of even things that resembled Bigfoot,
Oh,
and lots of different sort of monsters kind of swimming around either in the lakes down there. Yeah,
more
it
than one
was like
kind?
this. Yeah, the early explorers got real creative with it.
Oh, nice.
But the one that really stuck around that also came from the indigenous people of the area is the Nahuelito. And that looks a lot like Nessie, which looks a lot like a plesiosaur. The most recent sighting was not too long ago. There's a video out on YouTube if you look up the Argentinian lake monster. And then there were two guys out kayaking and took video of this thing that does indeed look very long, and it looks like it is moving very much on its own and does not resemble a log.
We just watched that before we started recording,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize those guys were in kayaks. That's got to be
Yeah.
kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
You're like in this stupid little strip of wood, whatever they make kayaks. I don't know. I'm outside.
It's pretty much plastic now,
Yeah, I
but
figured, but
yeah,
and then
the
you see this.
fiberglass.
Yeah, and then you see
Yeah.
this thing moving in the water, and it's like, oh, I don't have any idea what that is. I'm sure it's fine. I'm just gonna
And
record it in case
yeah,
we die.
and then to have the wherewithal to actually record it is kind of mind blowing to me. I kayak
Yeah.
not a lot. I'm not a regular kayaker, but I
Mm-hmm.
do it probably at least once every summer.
Mm-hmm.
And just being in lakes in Illinois is a little freaky because the water is right there, and you are in a very small,
Yeah.
tiny. You're going to get submerged very quickly.
Right. It's right there. It's the nature of the whole thing. You're not like
Yeah.
on a deck somewhere. It's
No.
right there.
You do not feel safe.
No. I mean, it's seeing a snapping turtle. I'm like, oh, turn around. This sucks. Seeing a whole GD log that is diving. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I
Zero
don't
zero
know.
chance that I'm going to stick around. And this thing's been around for so long. So they started off getting stories about it, and then in 1897, the director of the Buenos Aires Zoo began to get sporadic reports about the creature. And then in 1910, George Garrett heard about it. He was an explorer, and he put in a report about a sighting that it was about 16 feet long and it protruded about 6 feet out of the water.
Well,
And he started to talk about it to the locals, and then he started to get reports back, like a
ooh, I
lot of
like that.
reports. And he got in touch with the Buenos Aires Zoo, and they had been trying to collect evidence of this creature because they also had had so many reports. So they went looking for it and never found anything, but just
Of
collected a lot of
course.
reports.
Uh-huh.
In 1960, in Argentina, their navy was said to have chased an unidentified underwater object in the lake for 18 days.
18
Without 18
days.
days without being able to identify what it was.
Wait, what
Mhm.
body of water was that for 18 days?
It's a massive, massive lake. It's the Nahuelito Lake in Patagonia. It's massive. It's something like 1,500 feet deep. It's huge. It is a huge, huge lake.
Oh my, wait.
Yeah,
No, I'm thinking of miles.
it's a lake. Yeah, 1,500 miles. It went all the way through the earth. I don't know how wide the earth is.
You could tell me that
All
and
the
I would
way
believe
through
you.
and to the moon. That's how deep this lake is.
Wow!
I
That's
know.
deep.
It's crazy.
I think.
Yeah, it's a massive, massive lake, and then they just keep having reports, about this. In 1988, photos were taken by somebody who worked for a newspaper, taken at a short distance with an analog camera. It is not a log of whimsical shape, which is the best way that I've ever heard anything described ever. It is not a log of whimsical shapes. It's not a wave.
That's on my business card.
Yeah. El
Not.
Nahuelito showed his face.
Wow.
So yeah, and then this most recent sighting, which it looks interesting. It's a video. It's not underwater. It's above water, which
Mm-hmm.
you can't ever really tell what's going on by looking at the surface. But
It looks sketchy, like not what you think it might be if you knew what stuff looked like. That okay, I'm sorry I said that.
So good. That's the best way of describing anything paranormal ever. It's a
Thank you.
thing that doesn't always look like the other thing.
That guy said is wrong. It's
Yep.
whimsical.
That guy said it looks a lot like this thing.
He was wrong. Way more whimsical what he said.
But all of these lakes and all of these sightings, for the most part, are in these areas that have such depth, and they usually have some sort of cave system or tributary, or
Mm-hmm.
they're in a mountainous area, which always has caves, and
Yep.
somehow connected into the ocean. Just from the descriptions alone, I mean, you look at the descriptions of Nessie,
Mm-hmm.
and back when they first started, it's almost a different animal entirely from what's being reported like today. But
Oh,
both
yeah.
fit underneath that umbrella of plesiosaur.
I didn't even think about that
Hmm.
because I know that like the first sightings, it was Nessie was so small, and
Yeah.
now it's like inflated into this giant creature. Who's to say, A, it couldn't be like a juvenile, but also like maybe it's just a different thing. Maybe there are multiple
Yeah. The
guys.
smallest species that fits under that umbrella of plesiosaurs was 7 feet long.
Okay. How big did they say it was in the like 20s or whenever that was?
I think it was about that,
Well, there we go.
because it was seen like crossing a road or waddling. I'm
What?
assuming sort of a crossing a road. I believe
It,
there was one article where they were driving really close to the water and like saw something just
he's like,
heaving itself across the road.
thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
You know what? We need to take a break real quick, and then let's talk about some North American lake dudes.
sounds great. I'm waving with my paddle.
Thanks, guy.
You know, when you dive down there and you're at the reef and you're looking at the things that you're supposed to be looking at, which is the reef right in front of you. If you turn around, there's a whole big blue space and you can't see anything. And the ocean floor starts to, I mean, even at 90 feet, the ocean floor just starts to drop away very quickly. And it's massive.
Gross. It sounds like the worst. It sounds like terrifying. It sounds like, no, thank you. I'll be on the boat. No, Jenny, what are you doing?
It's amazing. And so
Ugh.
many creatures, come in and out of your sight so quickly. You don't even know they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Gross.
just saying.
And you're just swimming around in their toilet. Nope.
Well, that's the whole reason that I'm doing it, right?
Yes. You've told me so much about that.
Edit that
We
out.
get
People don't need to know
it.
about that. They don't need to
No,
know about my secrets.
absolutely not. It's staying.
All right, shut up and tell me about North America.
Okay. So I started, you go and you look up a list of lake monsters, sea monsters, North America, etc., etc.
As I do on a regular basis.
I
Yes.
know, you're Jenny. Come on, I get it. There are so many. The list is so long. So I'm like, okay, shut up. Just give me mostly US. I don't care about Canada. But you can creep in if you're close enough. It's fine. Okay, now there's so many. And there's so many that are landlocked. And I was like, I don't want to know about landlocked. That sounds like some people trying to do some tourist stuff. I don't want to know about it. I don't believe you. So then I'm like, okay, keep going. How many are in lakes that have some sort of outlet or inlet to the Atlantic Ocean? Jeni, so many. So,
Like the majority of them?
yeah. Yeah. If you have a lake, any body of water that has any sort of outlet or inlet to the Atlantic Ocean, I'm sure the Pacific too, but I wasn't really looking over there. You're going to have some sort of sighting of a lake creature, let's say. I find that it's usually either plesiosaur presenting. It sounded weird. Listen, I don't judge. You present how you like.
I think we entered a whole new era into the cryptozoology descriptions.
Thank you. Or it's like snake / eel like. Like one guy was like, it's a snake with an eel tail, which I thought was really funny because what's the difference? But I guess there's a little fin at the end of an eel. I don't know.
They're not so much rounded as they are like oval, and they're kind of, if you look at it, it's more like that. Yeah.
Like a spearhead or something.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Good description.
I mean, there's so many. I don't know what the difference is. Like, I don't know why one specific kind is going to one specific place or only being seen there. That makes no sense to me. But who cares? It's still fun. We got Memphrey from Lake Memphrey Magog.
We have got to get better at pronunciations. I'm just saying that as a whole because me and the... But anyway.
No, I did great at that. I don't know what you're talking about. That is a lake that is in Canada and Vermont. And it's freshwater. But it was made by glaciers. It's a glacier lake. So I can totally see, like, listen, this is filling up. All these things are coming in because stuff is melting. Guess what, guys? Still melting. And it also goes into the Atlantic through, let's see, I don't know, rivers. Lots of rivers, lots of different lakes. All of these places have rivers connected to them that go and lead to the Atlantic Ocean. We got Bessie, we got Pressy, we got Mussy, we got Chessie, we got Champy. Let's talk about Champy.
I like Champy, number one,
because I love Champy.
You know, like his name just sounds so positive.
Right.
You know, he sounds like he's really achieving things out there.
He is. He's kind of full of himself about it because he's showing everybody his medals all the time.
And he's book checking nerds, so that's
all the time. Oh my
mean.
God, so mean, but an inspiration.
But then he buys them like a Coke or whatever the kids are drinking these days afterwards. Whatever nerds drink. I wouldn't know.
Jeni, you know, don't you?
Shut up, I totally might know.
But last year, July 2023, there were fishermen who caught a very plesiosaur shape on their sonar while they were fishing. It is fantastic. And I will be posting that on the page or whatever. But you guys check out, like, Google the Lake Champlain sonar champion. I don't know. Google something like that. You're not stupid. Just do it. It is so clearly a plesiosaur. It's nothing but that shape. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. Champy's been around forever. Let's take a little look at Champy.
Oh, let's do, please. Oh, you're just going to describe it? Are you going to paint me a picture with your words?
No, I don't. I'm not a painter.
Yeah.
In 1819, a report in the Plattsburgh Republican entitled Cape Ann Serpent on Lake Champlain reports a Capt'n Crumb. This was not an apostrophe N Capt'n.
It was a real Capt'n.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, it was CAPT period, so maybe...
That's Capt'n, yeah.
Right, I mean, right, unless that's what's on his birth certificate. He cited... It would be... People are weird. He cited an enormous serpentine monster. He said it was up... Okay. He said it had to have been about 187 feet. All right. Okay, guy.
It's oddly large, but very specific. Like, are you sure it wasn't 186?
You know what? I was wrong. He said it was 187 feet slash 57 meters. No, that is what he said. Long and approximately
Yeah.
200 yards away. I thought that he was saying it was 187 feet away from him, which I've been like, oh, I get that. Long? Really, bro? That's really long. I can't
Listen,
even imagine anything being that long, ever.
approximately means
Mhm.
like you go in it was like
What's the
170,
average here?
190.
It could have been two, it could
It's
have been 500. What's in between there? 187?
187 sounds
I
very
don't do
exact.
math, so it sounds right. Cap'n, come on. I don't believe you.
No,
Uh, come on.
approximately my foot.
Right? Come on. In 1883, Sheriff Nathan H. Mooney claimed he saw a water serpent about 20 rods, the equivalent of 110 yards, in length. Well, you guys settle down. Why are these things so huge? That doesn't make any sense.
They sold themselves out by really overstretching on the length.
Right. Like I don't believe I believe in Champy, but
No.
I'm starting to not to.
I know. These
Sheriff and Captain, you guys. But anyway, so PT Barnum was like, you know what? Bring me Champy and I'll give you some money because that's what he did. Nobody did,
Yeah.
I don't think.
No. Yeah, because didn't he have the Fiji mermaid for a little while too?
Yeah, but everyone
Isn't that
knows
something that he had?
that
Well,
was
yes,
like a
obviously. Yeah.
yeah.
But he did have quite a little collection of oddities.
Yeah. I mean, he
What
was
was
a
he going to do
showman.
with 187 feet of something, though?
I think even he knew. He's like, really?
Come on, guys.
100 yards? So it's like 300 feet? Okay, guy. All right.
Yeah. I think I'm understanding why some of these reports were not quite taken seriously. Like,
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1977, Sandra Mancy took a photo and it was a huge photo. Everyone's like, oh my God, this proves it. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that's a dinosaur with its head poking out of the lake. But now everyone's like, nah, it was a log.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because they're all logs
Yeah,
that
the
died.
logs are getting a lot of credit.
Right? I mean, we get it.
I don't believe that much in the logs.
Trees are great, but everybody settle down. It's not all logs. Uh,
I know at some point in time I had written down the actual length of the largest
oh, I have it right here.
plesiosaur. Yeah.
300 feet, according to the sheriff.
I mean the actual like
Oh,
longest, like the
oh.
fossils that they have found. The longest fossil. Okay, come on, guys.
What?
Oh, actually, they were usually in between 5 feet, so they got even smaller, and 49 feet.
That's not
Nothing
100
was
yards.
187 feet.
Captain, come on.
I know. This Captain guy, I don't know
I'm
about him.
convinced it's his first name. That's not a title.
That's not a title. He's never actually
No.
been on the water or in it, just next to it.
He saw it once. One of my favorite names is Old Greenie. He's from Cayuga Lake.
Okay, all right.
He's another snaky, eely guy, but I just like his name, Old Greenie.
I like a lot of the names. I like how a lot of the names for these guys end in Y.
Yeah, because they're like, a luck what? I don't know what that is, but I like the name of that monster, and that's what mine is too now. Uh-huh, got
Yeah.
it. Old Greenie. He is in a lake that is a man made lake that they basically flooded this valley for hydroelectric dam stuff.
Okay.
Of course, it has an outlet, inlet, whatever, to Atlantic
Mhm.
Ocean somewhere eventually. But unrelated to Old Greenie, It flooded like 9 towns to make it. And now, like, these divers go down there and they
Yeah.
just explore all these abandoned towns, and there's
Hmm.
graveyards. There's
Hmm.
estimated 2,300 corpses buried under this lake because of just graveyards that were buried in water. I love that. That's
I
so
do too.
neat.
Yeah.
And now there's a plesiosaur or giant eel guy, and he's like, "What's up? This is where I live now. I can live in any of these houses because none of you guys do, suckers." So that's fun.
Yeah. I like that a lot. That way, when you go visit grandma's grave or something along
Mhm.
those lines, you're just going to a lake. It's nice.
Right.
I don't know.
You get to go diving.
Yeah,
You like to dive.
I
You
do.
could visit.
And I've heard about like the abandoned towns that you can go visit when you're diving, and it sounds incredible and it
Mm-hmm.
sounds slightly terrifying as well.
Uh-huh.
Also,
What
I don't know that I'd
happens?
be able to stop pretending like I was someone from the future,
Yeah.
like coming down
Why
to
would
discover
you?
what happened to the earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's covered in the
Mhm.
ocean. Be
Exactly.
like that one movie. Wouldn't the lake, the water, wouldn't that just erode at the graves and all the corpses come up from the graves like some kind of poltergeist situation?
Well, no, because when you fill something with water, it doesn't necessarily like erase the ground underneath it. Uh,
I've seen poltergeist and I know you're lying.
also, most graves are not just sort of someone thrown into a hole and then buried. There's usually
Even
a
from the
coffin and
1800s.
then sort of a cement block.
What? Is
Yeah,
that true? There's cement
sometimes.
boxes?
I believe so.
That's probably the first time I've ever said sincerely, is that true?
I I honestly, for some reason, it's true in my head. It might be completely and totally inaccurate, and you might
I'll
just
believe
be
you.
in a box down there, but I feel
Not me.
I don't know what they were doing during the early 1900s. I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
think
there
they had
were
cement.
caskets.
Sure.
Yeah.
And pine boxes. I don't think they covered it with cement though.
You're buried fairly deeply. It's not like a surface level burial, so I don't think the water would erode that down.
Never.
I don't know. And it
It's
wouldn't
been over a
be
100 years.
And it wouldn't be quick moving water either, which is
Even if it's a hydroelectric man made lake that moves.
the water would move when I don't know. I don't know.
Why not, Jenny?
I don't
I
know.
don't
I would
know.
imagine that the water would be pretty still after it got into the lake, but that makes sense in my head. I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm so very
Why I'm
definitely
putting your feet to the
defending.
fire on this?
Yes, I am very stridently defending the dead stayed buried in hydroelectric man-made lakes.
I don't buy it. I
I'm
think that there's
representing.
corpses everywhere. That's all I'm saying. Maybe that's what old Greenie is. Just a bunch of
Just
corpses.
it got tangled up together.
Yeah, not logs this time.
Sometimes the reports of sea monsters looking like eels are these oarfish too, which are incredibly long and are very similar in description to the long eel sea monsters. But they are deep sea creatures and usually only surface when there's some sort of major
Mm.
oceanic event, like a tsunami's coming or an earthquake or things like that,
Or corpse zombies that have
or
been
corpse
buried.
zombies.
Yeah.
I think they come up for that as well.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that we don't know. And I know that we joke about some of the names and the corpses and all of those things, but the fact of the matter is I fully believe that there could be some form of evolved
Oh,
plesiosaurs
a
in a
hundred
lot of
percent.
these. Yeah, absolutely responsible for these reports.
I am a little bit iffy on the eel situation because I
Mhm.
feel like that could be a sturgeon that people are misseeing or not
Yeah.
really identifying correctly, especially in a lot of these places that I don't know how big sturgeons get. I can see like every creature has like their gigantism. I can see a sturgeon getting 25 feet long and not like bat an eye at it. That's fine. It's
Yeah.
still really cool and neat, but I don't think it's a cryptid.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, Old Greenie, I appreciate you, and I do not think you are a cryptid. But
Yeah.
the plesiosaur shaped ones, I'm on board
I'm
every
super on
time.
board.
Mm-hmm.
I'm absolutely on board because it could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that we haven't discovered, especially about the ocean. You know, I mean, think about like the giant squid. We had no idea those dudes existed like until halfway through the 1900s, I think, didn't we?
I think that's a lot more recent than that, wasn't it?
It might be. I'm over exaggerating the distance because I usually under exaggerate. And I usually say, oh, it was like last year that we discovered them. And it was like 30 years ago, just because that's the way time in my brain works.
Yeah, it feels like that.
But that's definitely a more recent discovery.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember either.
Yeah.
But all the Great Lakes, those are huge Great Lakes. Every single one has its own lake monster.
Hmm.
That's crazy to me. They all, at some point, somewhere, lead out to the ocean. Makes sense. Who's to say that there's not so many of them in there all the time? And we're just like occasionally seeing one little guy, and you're like, oh, look at that cute little guy. He's different.
Yeah.
Let's make fun of him and make him a mascot for a softball team. That's a good idea. I love it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun.
There's no way. Like, you guys, we don't know what's in the ocean. You can say all you want, you don't know. There's definitely something in there that has been there forever, and he just likes to come and visit his uncle in Wisconsin every once in a while. It's fine.
Yeah. He makes the trip. It's nice.
It is nice.
It
When was the
is.
last time you visited your uncle? It's been a while.
So many things can evolve, and we discover new species all the time, especially in the ocean, things that have been around forever, and we just simply haven't seen them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as we explore more and more, and as we get more and more actual scientists, not me,
Nope.
investigating things, you know, we get a little bit more plausibility
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of
Yeah.
these things. And the more and more like that is discovered about evolution. The thing is, we discover more about how things evolved and more fossils constantly. We can go back to the same argument that, you know, when you and I were kids, like we learned about a couple of different species of people, like that was it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you had a few prehistoric man and that was it. And now so
They
many
keep
more.
adding up.
They do. They really do. I can't ever remember how to say our ancestors, pre-human humans.
Our ancestors is fine. We get it. You use the technical Latin term, I'll be like, I don't know what you're saying. That's fine.
It's okay. You wouldn't know because I'd be making it up because I don't know it.
I don't know what that sound is. But
No
thank
one
you. I
knows.
smell smarter now. I smell
I think that's
smarter.
smarter.
That's not smarter. Jeni,
Tressa.
what a voyage we have taken throughout the lakes and tributaries and
Came real
seas.
close. Came real
I
close
know.
to pronouncing
It was
that
going to be real
correctly.
good too.
Yeah.
And the oceans and the coral reefs. What an
Mhm.
adventure we
Mhm.
had today.
Such an adventure. Listen, there's some real
Uh-huh.
cool stuff out there that we haven't discovered. There's a lot of stuff that floats just beyond where we can see it and just beyond the imagination. There's
Gross.
I know, but also delightful, you know?
Mm,
Who
it's
wants to know it
true.
all?
Hmm.
Not me.
No, because that's boring and dumb.
Mhm. Plus I'd forget it anyway.
Oh, nope. Not
Yeah.
remembering that.
Mm-mm.
Listen, I remember geography though. That's not great. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week, and we'll have a guest who is going to talk about UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, it's super awesome and I will be back in the States too.
Hooray!
Yay!
We all get to hang out with Jeni IRL again. Are you guys excited or
Hooray!
what? All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.